Welcome, everybody. Episode 61 of The Harsh Review. We're an entertainment podcast, and today we're going to be talking about some movies we watched on Netflix. But before we get to that, my name is Sean, and with me is my brother Ryan.
Hey, everybody.
Hey. Super Bowl Sunday just happened.
Hey.
Yeah. Lowest ratings in 10 years. Do you care?
No, I mean, I honestly, I don't follow football as fanatically as some people, so it's not like I cared because Los Angeles was representing, but yet again, we got beat by a team from the New England region, so
yeah,
that was like we were playing a checkers game and they were playing a chess game, so just like the World Series, kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't follow football either.
Yeah.
But it was a boring game as far as it was all defense, and defense games are not fun to watch if you're not a hardcore football guy. Halftime show was stupid, and all the commercials sucked. So it was just, I'm Debbie Downer on the Super Bowl.
Halftime was pretty weak.
Right?
It's like you couldn't do better than that.
Yeah, I don't think Maroon 5's got a really strong catalog either for that type of arena rock.
Right.
I don't think they sounded too great, and I didn't like the forced, I don't know how to say it. Like they were getting a lot of crap because there should have been, an African American singer or something represented, because it's always gone to like these white people, and there's not enough diversity in the Super Bowl, which I think is true.
You don't like all those tattoos?
No, I mean, that's his thing. But I guess, they had Justin Timberlake. I mean, Rihanna turned it down because of the whole Colin Kaepernick thing where they won't hire him back because he took a stand, and there's all this political crap tied to it. And then Maroon 5 signs on to do it. And then they have just a dud of a show. And I mean, they haven't had anything contemporary come out in a while. And it's just, I don't know. Like, I think that's why I'm not a huge football fan, is because being a hardcore baseball fan, I like that there's 9 guys on the field, and then there's like a coach and a pitching coach and a hitting coach, and they're pretty much it. But like in football, you've got the people on the field, and then all these people on the sidelines with their headsets, and all these people
like
up
George
top.
Carlin.
Yeah, right. Well,
Well, I like baseball because the coach wears the uniform.
Yeah.
you don't see that. I mean, you can imagine Belichick with a big old helmet on.
Well, it's not a hat; it's a cap.
Yeah, right.
But and the reason why that kind of bothers me is it's being a casual fan. It's harder for me to kind of extract who's calling what shots, who's doing what's their role. What's Belichick doing? What's Brady doing? Or, Goff doing on the Rams? Or it's harder for me to get that. Whereas when you watch baseball, it's a little bit more transparent as far as like who's making the decisions and who's accountable for that, I guess.
You could see the psychology a lot more in baseball. Football, it seems like the psychology was kind of there weeks before, because it's like, you're going to play the Patriots and you have that whole expectation. So, it just depends on what happens when you get on the field, which last night wasn't a whole lot. I think one guy on the Patriots scored more yards than the entire Rams squad combined.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sad. I mean, I don't know. It's just, after a while, it just got kind of humiliating, to be honest with you. Just so many missed opportunities, and I got into it, but it was like after a while you're just shaking your head.
Well, the Rams got outplayed. The Patriots made it happen when they needed to. Rams were not really able to get anything going. Both teams were really answering each other well, but the Patriots were able to fight through it. That's why they won. That's how sports work. Yeah. So enough of us trying to do a hatch job of football commentary.
Analysis.
Let's talk about everybody wants to know is the commercials during the Super Bowl, which is another thing that bothers me because I just don't like all like the commercialism and all the stuff that comes with football is just a huge turnoff for me. And so for those who don't really even care about the Super Bowl, oftentimes they're like, well, the commercials are great. And really they're not. They're just they're more risky than a normal commercial you would see at any point in time if you watch commercials. But for somebody who tries to not watch commercials ever in my life, it's really hard to like want to mentally look at them as a source of entertainment.
Yeah, and it's the fact that they're like $1 million every 30 seconds or something like that just makes it even more crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb. I mean, from Netflix to Hulu, I mean, I even pay for YouTube so I don't have to watch the advertisements, and it's great.
Right.
Yeah. I don't want to watch commercials. I don't want to be marketed to unless it's something that, you know, I choose to be. So why the hell would I want to watch commercials during a Super Bowl? But anyway.
Sean Harsh can't be bought.
Coming in hot.
Hey, you can't buy me.
Can't buy me.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of the commercials. I was just kind of taking notes last night. And someone's like, "What are you doing? Like, what are you writing stuff down for?" And I'm like,
"I'm an analyst."
I was typing it on the phone. Like, it's for a podcast.
Yeah, back off. I've got an audience to serve. See,
when I've got a piece of pie or something.
Well, let's hear about them notes. What caught your eye?
I just wrote down just kind of random stuff. So the Bud Light. I noticed like two overarching themes among everything I saw was a medieval theme and a robot/android theme. So we had a Bud Light commercial, and that turned into a GOT, like as if
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
sorry,
I don't ever call it that.
GOT.
Yeah,
as if they need like more promotion. Who's not watching that? So we got to see the dragon. And then we saw some other commercials that had like a similar kind of medieval theme. Yes. We saw a couple of robots, which kind of disturbing. I don't know about that, but it just kind of shows the way technology's going, and everybody's just kind of automated now. So you had that. Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw. It was like a big trailer. Which I'm not going to watch. What about you, Sean?
There's too much testosterone in that show. Yeah. Like, just it's nothing but like a dick measuring contest. The whole commercial.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care for Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge Jason Statham fan. The Rock does good movies, but he's also, it's kind of like, I don't know. He's neutral. He doesn't really add anything to it. He just does his part well.
He's just there.
Yeah, he's just there.
I missed it, but I guess there was a Handmaid's Tale like preview.
Oh, I didn't see that either.
Yeah, I saw something like that on Facebook, but I'm sure that was cool. One thing I did like was a quick little Twilight Zone teaser.
Yeah, with Jordan Peele. Was he talking different for some reason?
Yeah, he seemed to have like that Rod Serling thing going on without the cigarette.
Yeah, I was like, is that him talking? I think it's him.
A world beyond sight and sound.
Yeah.
You have just now entered the Twilight Zone.
I think he's found himself a pretty cool little niche after Key and Peele. So
yeah.
I'm curious to see what he brings to it, or if he's just the figurehead behind it. I don't know.
Yeah, he's like the host, but I'm pretty sure he's developing stuff.
Sure.
If anything, if the trailers for Us are any justice, it's like he's getting into some surreal stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm down with that. And there was also apparently an Avengers trailer. I don't know if I saw that or.
Yeah, it was like a little quick 30-second, pump you up that's happening kind of thing. But it didn't. I don't think it's
right.
Yeah, I don't think it showed stuff from the movie. It was more of like a, shot for a commercial specifically kind of thing.
Yeah,
they're not showing you. They're not showing anything. So.
Threw some stuff together. The stuff with the dude was pretty cheesy. That was stupid.
I know.
Jeff
they
Bridges,
teased that earlier, where people thought, like, is this Lebowski too? Because they had some commercial where he, turns around and he's just like, "Hey," and that was it. And everyone's like, "What's this mean?" And it's like, yeah, it's Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Danny McBride Crocodile Dundee thing.
Yeah, that was probably the best one I've seen in a while.
And I was like, yes, that's who I would pick to be Crocodile Dundee.
I know.
That's my boy right there.
Yeah, nope.
Yeah, it was Jeff Bridges, the girl from Sex and the City, and the world's most interesting
Dos
man or
Equis.
whatever. Dos Equis guy.
Yeah.
So, but they was pitching Stella Artois. So,
Which I don't think is a good beer.
okay, yeah. I mean, but anyway, it was like they got enough to pay for all those people, but it was just the payoff wasn't that good. So, whatever. What else do I have? That was pretty much it. Oh, we had a Planters Peanuts car, and then we got to see a couple burnouts, Charlie Sheen and A-Rod.
Yeah, Charlie Sheen's even more of a burnout. Who happens to mention
Yeah.
he'd be open for a reboot of 2.5 Men.
Of course.
Just go away, pal. We were fine without you.
Yeah.
This is what agents do when they're trying to like bring someone's career back in, is they get them little spots and things like that to make people like him again. I mean, when Tom Cruise needed that boost, they booked him for Tropic Thunder, not because it was like the perfect role for him, but they wanted people to see like a different side of him, to go like, oh, he's not so bad. And then, it really helped his image out. That's what this felt like for Charlie Sheen. Like, hey, he's still alive. Yeah, he's not dead.
Yeah.
He might be around again.
It was more like it was more one of those, hey guys, remember me? Kind of thing. And same with A-Rod, but I've seen A-Rod, like he's commented for stuff, so it's not like he disappeared. But
I only want to see Charlie Sheen if he does his role of Ricky Vaughn. The Wild Thing up on the mound. Outside of that, I don't care for the guy.
Yeah, they made a Hot Shots Part 3. I wouldn't care either. So.
Yeah.
Hot Shots. Let me see what else. We got Hannah on Amazon. It's a series now. I remember it being a movie.
Yeah, I even called it. I saw this like, this looks like Hannah. Like, what are they doing? I was like, oh, it is Hannah. Okay, well, the movie wasn't that great.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then they released the first episode so everybody could watch it.
Yeah.
Remember last year we had Cloverfield and everyone's all pumped, and then you watched it and you're like, okay, it sucked. I
got home. I didn't feel like watching anything. I was debating whether or not I wanted to watch it. I was just kind of burned out from the game, and I was just like, I want to get ready for bed now. Walk the dog, and then that's it.
That's fair.
Yeah. But that's all my notes.
Yeah, well, that's all there is to say.
I'm just trying to recall stuff, so that's why I was just taking all these notes. But I mean, even the commercials couldn't save the game,
No. I mean, it wasn't exciting, but I mean, if you're a football fan, it was probably a good game. When people, I mean, this might be, contradicting to what I was kind of saying earlier, but I don't mind defensive games because you're seeing that the teams are countering each other well. And I'm sure football fans could see what was great in it. But what I don't like is when people are complaining that like, oh, nothing's happening. It's like, well, actually something is. It's just not what you want to be happening. These are two teams countering each other all the way up and down the field. Like, that's pretty cool. But at the same time, there's no drama to it. So, get out of here. Social media during the Super Bowl is like the worst time, man. Everyone's got an opinion on something. Everyone complains about something. It's just like, shut the hell up and just, who your real football fans are, and I'm happy for them. But everybody else outside of that, I don't care.
Yeah.
Blah. All right, well, let's move on. Any other news catch your eye this week?
Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff here. Got some music / movie news for all you people out there interested. A couple of documentaries in the works. The first one is Ken Burns. His next project after the Vietnam War is a country music documentary, which is 16 hours.
No.
Yeah, so it's 8-part, 16-hour documentary. It's going to be premiering September 15th on PBS. Basically, according to a press release, it says the following: country music explores crucial questions. What is country music and where did it come from? While focusing on the biographies of some of the characters. Carter family, Jimmy Rogers, Patsy Cline, Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard, Willie Nelson, Dolly Parton, Emmylou Harris, Garth Brooks, and many more.
Yeah, it's probably good until you get up to about the 90s, and then it's like, all right.
Yeah. Like old country is interesting to me because there's a lot of cool stories. Not just like with Johnny Cash, but a lot of cool like just background stuff going on. But yeah, around the late '80s and '90s, it just took a right turn.
Country pop came in, and it was like, okay, this isn't country western anymore. The people did not live what they're singing about.
Yeah.
So
especially that Chris Bridges guy.
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about?
Chris Bridges.
Is that the guy who was like Garth Brooks' alter ego? Remember that?
No, I don't think it's Chris Bridges. It was.
I just made that up. I don't know.
What the hell was his alter ego name?
It was. I don't think it was country, right? Like he just came out with like a different haircut without that big old hat.
Yeah, it was Chris Gaines.
Chris Gaines, half right. Yeah, he had a soul patch and his hair was down in his face.
Yeah, it was just a different look for him, and he just wanted to write different stuff. But it was kind of funny. He looks so emo.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a great musician, but he's very talented. But again, I mean, that's just not my type of thing. I don't have a horse, so I can't really enjoy half his lyrics.
Yeah. My favorite country artist, Dwight Yoakam in Sling Blade.
Yep.
That's just a great role right there.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
All right, so we have that, and then we also have our friend Peter Jackson, who's he just did a World War I documentary, which I want to see, but I don't know how you can get a hold of that. It's
well, they're doing limited screenings right now.
Okay.
And it's
like you could get a DVD or like a code for it, but it's all overseas right now. But it's called "They Shall Not Grow Old."
Yeah, where he colorized everything. Looks interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I saw some clips and stuff. I saw it advertised, when I went and saw Glass.
Okay.
And I saw some footage for it. You know what I mean? But the I would say that it's got to have some kind of story to tell. I'm not just going to be watching like black and white stuff in color. Like after a while, so I don't know what the story is.
Yeah, well, it's only like an hour and a half, which is good because if it was of like Ken Burns proportions, after a while, it'd be like, okay, guy, this is.
Yeah, he's either going to talk about the footage they found and the work that they did to colorize it, how it humanizes it, or there's got to be some kind of narrative going on. So I don't know what that is. I guess I have to watch to find out.
Sure. But when he's doing another documentary, it's centered around the Beatles, one of my favorite bands. So he was basically given carte blanche to sift through 55 hours of unseen studio footage from the Let It Be sessions. This is pretty much like at the tail end of the Beatles' career. I've seen the movie Let It Be. It's basically just like a fly on the wall thing. It's not like a straight documentary, but what they did was when they went in and recorded the album Let It Be, they also had a film crew on hand. And it's interesting because you could kind of see like a very slow disintegration of a great band.
Yeah.
There's like little arguments going on. Yoko's sitting there in the corner the whole time. So it's pretty like fascinating, but I guess he's going to take all this footage and make something new out of it. I don't know if it's going to be a straight up like documentary or just he's going to redo kind of the old Let It Be and do it. But he's been given, all that stuff has been given to him by Sir Paul and Ringo and the other people, Yoko Ono and Olivia Harrison, like the surviving people involved. So he's working on that. I'm not sure how. He's got 55 hours to work with, so it might take a while. But
wow.
Yeah. But yeah, it was done 18 months before they broke up, but pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious to see.
Yeah. So some other non-related film news. I got something good for you about Bigfoot.
Oh, now you got me interested. Let's talk about Bigfoot.
Yeah, perk up. So, there's all these Bigfoot stories. We've talked about Patterson Gimlage and Bob Hieronymus. This one lady, her name is Robin Lynn Pfeiffer, and she lives in Michigan, and she has these Bigfoot sightings in the woods behind her house. So Michigan, like Washington State and Oregon, is another place where people have claimed to see Bigfoots. Well, this woman here is the mother of all Bigfoots. So what she says is that she wants to set the record straight about Bigfoot and his role in the community.
His role in the community.
Or yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it was basically. She says in 2009, the Bigfoots, and I'm emphasizing the S at the end because it's more than one here. Started setting foot on a property, so Lynn started setting out different foods and decided that the food they like the most is
Macaroni and
what do you think,
cheese.
Sean? No, blueberry bagels.
Okay. What's her name again? I want to look her up.
Her name is Lynn Pfeiffer. Well, her first name is Robin, and then Lynn-Pfeiffer. And so, yeah, blueberry bagels apparently, but she's saying every day they get fish, they get a bucket of fruit, a bucket of dry dog food, but their favorite thing to have is blueberry bagels.
Mm-hmm.
She's buying the bagels at different stores in the area. She also says, like, when they're not eating their blueberry bagels, they're goofing around and pulling pranks. So she said they like to poke around in her home's crawl space, knock on the walls, and braid her pony's hair. And they also build little stick structures out in the woods. How cute.
Yeah.
And then she says she tried setting up automatic cameras around the forest to capture what was going on, but the Bigfoots were turning them upside down. But she has made plaster casts of their feet, and true to their name, of course, the biggest footprint she's found measures about 18.5 inches long.
Okay, this lady's crazy.
You think? Yeah, you got a picture of her or something?
Yeah, I saw a photo.
Yeah.
Definitely crazy.
Yeah. So, one of those things. Family of Bigfoots, blueberry bagels.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of those, but apparently someone is, and they're Bigfoots.
So,
yeah.
What's your take on
size? I think she's nuts.
Yeah.
She needs a friend. But I mean, we've talked about Bigfoot before. It's very possible, but there's not like any conclusive kind of crazy evidence to support it. So,
this lady's crazy. I mean, like, what do you really, if you are going to claim all these things, casts of a foot isn't going to do it. It clearly hasn't done it yet. So nobody cares about your stupid cast.
Right.
You got to, get a photo of a Bigfoot and we'll talk.
Yeah.
Don't go out in the woods howling and banging sticks on trees.
Right.
Come on. You could land somebody on the moon. You could definitely take a picture of Bigfoot. I like to believe he exists, but I know it's not real, but it'd be a much cooler world if he was real.
Yes.
Power to the Bigfoot.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for enlightening me.
Of course. Always had some Bigfoot news for you.
Yeah.
One last thing here. Two last things. We talked recently about Ted Bundy tapes.
Mm-hmm.
And, Netflix recent episode, we discussed how they had to release a press release encouraging people not to do stupid Bird Box shit. Well, they've issued yet another one about this Ted Bundy, and they're asking people to please stop fawning over Mr. Ted Bundy. People, I guess, on Twitter are openly lusting after him.
I don't think he's like a good-looking dude. You know what I mean? Like, I see how he's charming and I see how he's manipulating,
but yeah, he's a dangerous
he's
guy.
A tall, thin guy who's got a good smile and nice hair, but
Yeah, so I mean, Netflix is imploring viewers to stop openly lusting after him. Of course, having to remind everyone that he was a horrific murderer. And not to be reminded, Netflix said, I've seen a lot of talk about Ted Bundy's alleged hotness and would like to gently remind everyone that there are literally thousands of hot men on the service, almost all of whom are not convicted serial murderers. Pretty hip post from Netflix there. I guess people are going over Twitter saying Ted Bundy's hot and that he's looking good and all that, but that shows our culture is infatuated with this stuff. So,
yeah,
found it to be quite interesting. Trying to clear off my docket here. One last bit of news. You ever get a flu shot, Sean?
Actually, no.
Okay, well, for those of you or listeners who do get flu shots, this one might keep you from getting one. A man in Las Vegas got a flu shot, and shortly thereafter, he was unable to speak, walk, see, or breathe.
That's why I don't get them.
Within days of getting the shot. So, he was going to go see like another family member with a new baby, and he decided to get the whole family vaccinated to protect the infant. And then soon after that, he was admitted to the hospital. He was sedated and intubated, unable to breathe on his own. Left eye is paralyzed and shut, and a tube protrudes from his neck. So the doctors have made a diagnosis of Guillain-Barré syndrome, which I believe is what Diving Bell and the Butterfly guy had.
Okay.
I think the same kind of thing. So it says they say he may have months of recovery left from the rare disease in which a person's nerves are attacked by the immune system, causing paralysis and, in extreme cases, death. The cause of the disease affects 1 or 2 million in America, or 1 or 2 in a million isn't known, according to the CDC in prevention. But the disease can creep up after a bout of diarrhea.
Ooh.
Ouch. A respiratory infection or an infection
bumming
from
me out here.
Campylobacter jejuni bacteria.
Yeah.
And then, they did mention that some people get it after a flu shot. So this poor guy, he's still in the hospital.
Well, best of luck.
Yeah. That's my news.
That's the news. I'm sticking with it. All right.
Yep.
Well, you ready to talk about this movie you had me watch?
Yes. I thought it was, kind of a change of pace.
Oh, my God. Okay, so
yeah,
this is your thing. Take it away.
All right, so the movie is called Velvet Buzzsaw. And I saw a little preview for it on Netflix, and I was like, okay, let's check this out. The guy did another movie, which I quite liked, called Nightcrawler. Have you seen that one?
With Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie's rad.
Yeah, pretty good movie. It reminded me of like a modern day like Taxi Driver. It was just kind of like this guy's slow descent into madness. Kind of what became of him. It also touched on like affection with the media and all that. So it was written and directed by Dan Gilroy. And Dan Gilroy made this movie that I forced you to watch called Velvet Buzzsaw. And Dan Gilroy looks like a pretty creepy dude. If you see his picture, looks kind of yellow.
I haven't seen his photo yet, but
yeah. So basically, I didn't know what to make of this film. Like, to be honest with you, should we get into spoiler territory, or you want to just go with it?
I would say just go with it, and you can talk about spoilers because, just because, like, if you haven't seen it, you probably should know that you're going to listen to a podcast about a movie.
Sure.
Good chance, it's a Netflix release. So, I mean, I don't think it's high profile enough to where we're going to be ruining somebody's life. It's different than Glass, you know what I mean? Like where you want to experience that. This movie, I mean, the premise is pretty clear.
Yeah, we're not going to get too in depth to it. To be honest with you, like we could talk about its themes and what it's really trying to say. I didn't know what it was when I started watching it, but it turns into a horror film kind of like about halfway through the film.
Yeah.
Which I never, and then even like a really bad 80s slasher film. And at points it seemed like a David Lynch film, kind of in the way it was shot and like the way the acting and the lines were read and stuff. It reminded me of like Blue Velvet or Lost Highway or something like that. And then like halfway through the movie, I'm like, oh shit, I'm sorry I forced Sean to watch this. Because at the point I told you to check it out, I hadn't seen it yet either.
Okay.
So I was like, it's something new. Let's talk about something new. It's on Netflix. Why not? So, and then halfway through, I'm like, oh, I wonder what Sean's thinking right now. Like this is something you should be watching or something that you like to watch. Stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Rene Russo, Toni Collette. John Malkovich is in it. Honestly, I don't know why he's in it. Like his character really serves no purpose. Mm-hmm. These are all people like basically involved in the art world. So it's a movie about art. And Jake plays an art critic named Morph Vandewaltz. So he goes to this art exhibition, and a friend of his works for this like hardcore agent played by Rene Russo. And he's apparently like bisexual, but then he starts having like this kind of affair with this lady, Josephina. She's the one that works for Rene Russo. Josephina, in her apartment one day, she finds this dead man just kind of laying there, and come to find out the guy like fell down, died. She goes up to his apartment and finds a whole bunch of paintings, and her life at this point kind of sucks. She's getting a bunch of shit from her boss. So what she decides to do is steal the paintings and then show them off to her buddy Morph. And it becomes like an instant sensation pretty much off of these like dead guys' paintings. They look into like the legal ramifications. Can we take these or not? At first I was thinking like she was going to say she did all the paintings, but, give the dead man credit. Start selling the paint, or just kind of showing the paintings off. Everybody's taking a good look at them. And then things take a weird turn. This guy, Billy Magnuson, have you seen him play stuff before?
Which character was he?
He was the guy driving the truck with the earbuds in all the time.
I recognize him, but I don't know from where.
He's pretty funny. He was in Maniac, and he was in that Spielberg movie nobody watched, Bridge of Spies.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, he's pretty funny. So he like is transporting these paintings, and then while transporting them, he opens up a crate and decides to keep one of the artworks for himself before he goes. And then in a scene right. And then it's in a scene reminiscent of Lebowski, he lit cigarette ash, falls on a painting, lights it on fire, and then like he lights himself on fire, and then he crashes the car. Goes into a gas station, and then this is where it gets real crazy. There's a painting with some monkeys like working on a car. So the monkeys come out of the painting and attack him and kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You guys still with me out there?
I'm with you.
Okay. Nobody really knows what happens to him. Like the artwork, all goes missing.
Yeah, they pull him like into the painting or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool because it was like, what's going on? It's like the movie took a very like hallucinatory type of turn.
Yeah.
He's just like kind of staring at himself in the mirror, and he starts seeing stuff, and then all these like monkey arms start coming out and grabbing him.
Yeah.
So, what did you think of that, Sean? Take a drink of water here.
I kind of knew where it was kind of going. It had some of the tones to where you think like, first of all, this dead guy who's got a treasure trove of, paintings are all kind of like dark, twisted, and sad. So right away you kind of feel like, okay, where's this going? And then, everyone's got their own motives, and they're all pretentious like art folk. And you kind of see where it's going, but you don't know how it's going. Like, how are they going to get there? And then when they go, okay, that's what the whole shtick is going to be, is the paintings somehow come to life and kill people.
More or less. So it's like another guy is like, he's an opposing art gallery owner. And I don't know much about art, like the art world. So this movie kind of showed me how, if it's true, like just how kind of crazy it still is. But it seems to me like nobody gives a shit. You know what I mean? Like about like art. It's just like a certain clique of people. Like they'll just look at something and be like, oh, that's really fascinating. That's saying a lot, but it probably isn't. But it just showed like how like there's a lot of competition apparently, because some of this stuff does sell for several thousands or millions of dollars. So another guy gets killed. He actually gets trapped in a piece of artwork, and then he hanged up by his scarf. And then it's after the funeral that our main character, Morph, he looks at a painting, sees a hand moving, and he just starts tripping out from there. Starts affecting his love life with Josephina. He's seeing more stuff. He goes to an eye doctor thinking like something's wrong with his eyes, but the doctor isn't too much help. And then that's when Morph discovers that the painter used like actual blood in the paintings. Like his own, like he spent some time in a mental institution, put some of his own blood into the paintings. So that's pretty interesting. There's another interesting scene that I thought was pretty crazy, where one of the other art dealers, like, she sticks her hand in this thing called the sphere, which is like just like a big silver ball.
Yeah.
And that's played by Toni Collette, who like we loved in Hereditary, right? She sticks her hand in this thing, and then the piece like malfunctions, and her arm is cut off.
Yeah, that was like, okay, we knew something bad was going to happen there.
A lot of blood, and it's like the satirical part of that is like the next day, like people think her body is art, and so they're like, walking around it and like walking
Standing
in the blood and stuff. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. Like, okay, now you start seeing like, okay, this guy is trying to say something, even though he's being like very extreme about it. So it's like, as soon as that happens, like there's a spike in demand for the Deese exhibit. That's the guy whose paintings are up. And so it's just like everybody just starts tripping out, having like hallucinations, gets way more crazier, and then pretty much everybody dies, I think, right? Like up to the end.
Pretty much. Well, I mean, a good chunk of people involved were,
except for Malkovich, like he got out of it somehow.
Yeah, he dodged the bullet.
Yeah, but it's like everybody like checking these paintings out, which by the way are pretty like horrific. But they're looking at him like Malkovich is a recovering alcoholic. He starts drinking, when he sees it, and then his buddy Rene Russo like says, "Yeah, go to my beach house and just like dry out for a while." So saved his ass, but her end in the movie is pretty grisly as well. So, so I mean, yeah.
So there you have it,
67%. Yeah, 67% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, I mean, so it didn't do like horribly, but it just had like that whole vibe of like a really bad like 80s movie, like a slasher movie.
Sure.
With like a lot of decent actors in it.
Yeah, the cast was good. I mean, everybody did their part well. I think the best part about the whole movie was the artwork, as far as like who did they get to make this art, right, because it looked pretty good, and so it was well shot, well edited, it looked good. I just could not give two shits about the story, or the characters. You're just like characters. You don't like any
they're
of
just
them.
Like Josephina was just like very pretentious, and it's like all of a sudden she finds her like into the art world, and she just she sees all that, and then she gets it in the end too, like everyone else. So it's like you're kind of near the end of the movie, you're like, just die already. It's like one of those things where you
wrap
want
it up.
The actors, like this, like you don't really care about these people enough. You don't have any compassion for any of them because they're just like hoity-toity art snobs.
Sure.
It seems to me like the message of the film is it's just kind of maybe like a fun, playful jab at like critics. Like what would happen if the art started to consume you, or, it's just one of those kind of things. But yeah, it's really hard to discern like what his overarching theme is, if he has any. Maybe that's just why it's what it is. Maybe it could just be a simple slasher film and we're reading too much into it.
Yeah. I had to look at like what was the bigger themes that kind of came from it. And it was that everybody was so engrossed in their own lives. They're like, they're so pretentious and into themselves that they didn't notice, the horror that was around the corner. And, most of them, you kind of look at it and go like, okay, they could have gotten out of here. Or I don't know, like the girl sitting there staring at her cell phone doesn't even realize that like the paintings leaked from the wall and is going underneath her and starting to consume her. You know what I mean?
And she's like on her phone half the movie, so it's like,
but
maybe it's a way of commenting on
it's
like
well
social.
done. I mean, and if you like horror movies, like you'll probably enjoy it. If that's your type of movie. They're not my type of movie, so I get bored real quick because the horror doesn't work on me. Like I'm immune to scary things in movies. Like it just doesn't work. But for other people,
just rolls right off you.
Yeah, other people it does work. I mean, you'll probably enjoy it. Definitely because of the cast and it's well made, so it's worth giving a shot if you like suspense and horror films. But if you're anything like me and you don't really care for them, you'll be bored as shit. So I guess it's like, if you don't like action movies, like, are you really is the one gonna change your mind? Probably not. You're already going in with a bias.
Sure.
So who knows? But yeah, I was like, fucking Ryan.
Gotcha.
Finds these. Yeah. Like I didn't even know this existed. And I'm like, well, the cast is awesome. Like this has got to be great. Like I just found some gem, like sweet, my Friday, Saturday night set. And then like 20 minutes into it, I was like, oh boy. But I mean, and you got to take a risk sometimes. So I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Can't always, keep it safe.
Yeah. Interesting too that like the way the film was conceived. I did a little research here. Dan conceived this project after Superman Lives, which is a film that was being worked on by Warner Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
He had a hand in it, I guess, in developing. And then it was like it was abruptly canceled because it had such a large budget. So he felt like really disillusioned with, film and all that stuff. But then he eventually made peace with it. And then kind of wrote this movie and then announced that Renee Russo is actually his wife. So she's in the film as she was in Nightcrawler.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you feel about directors putting their wives in films, but it's kind of like easy work.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like, let's just keep things good at the house,
What's his, like, Apatow does that.
Yeah, or there's like, Temple of Doom.
Looking at a new movie. You got a part for me in it?
Cape Catshaw, and now she doesn't act anymore, and just she's with him.
Yeah, look at smooth moves. So
yeah, well, I mean, you're all working together. It happens.
Yeah. So whatever. But I thought that was kind of interesting. And then he just said, it's just a film that has a Robert Altman like large ensemble cast. He's a director that made movies similar like to this in terms of the cast. So, it's got like a large cast and it kind of tells it from all their points of view. So
I think it would have been better if it really focused on one individual. I felt like they wrote it and cut it up because they didn't want to really have too much screen time for John Malkovich or Jake Gyllenhaal or Renee Russo or any of the characters that are in it didn't really have a big chunk of screen time. And then the main character that got the most, the girl, was like the most annoying one. But if they kept it focused on like a singular point of view, I think that the story probably could have been better told.
Right.
I don't know. It kind of felt like we want to get these actors and actresses on here. So I'm going to edit it and cater it into a way to where they're really only on set for a week or two. But I can like sprinkle them in over the course of 2 hours to make it feel like they have a strong presence, but none of them really do.
Like season 5 of Arrested Development.
Yeah, it just like, doesn't connect.
Gonna get you all together at once, so we're just gonna film around everybody and
it's exactly what it felt like. So
it would have helped if they had like a sympathetic character too.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the closest was the girl that was the assistant. The girl from Stranger Things.
Oh yeah, okay, that's right. That's where I've seen her before.
Yeah, that's the closest one that was like the only normal person out of the group. But I mean, outside of that, it was an interesting kind of thing. What did you make of the ending?
With the tattoo?
No, where the guy's selling the selling the art, and then somebody walks up and buys it.
Oh, yeah. That just sets it up for a sequel. It reminded me of something. I don't know what. Like something where like the evil keeps propagating itself. It just reminded me of
like
some
the Sumatran rat monkey from Dead Alive.
There you go.
Or something like that.
There you
or
go.
Where it's not really gone. It's still there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can lock it up, but
I agree with you. Like the Mummy.
It reminded me of something.
Like, someone's going to dig him up again.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I don't think they can I don't think it's like setting up for a sequel because this guy seems like someone that just Dan Gilroy. He just seems like someone that just
hit it,
does
move
it.
on.
Yeah, sure. But someone else can pick up on it. But it would just be stupid. I mean, you can only carry this so far. Cinematography was done by Robert Elswit, who did There Will Be Blood. That's a fantastic shooting job there. So
yeah, because that looks great. It was well made.
Yeah,
and it had some really cool scenes in it.
Yeah, Elswit's done other movies like him and Deakins are like they've done a lot of movies that I kind of like in the way they look. He's done pretty much every PTA movie.
Yeah.
So that's PTA's guy. Like Deakins works with Cohen. So
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's got everything. Everything's there. It's just the story, just kind of nuts.
Yeah, it fell flat for me.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. Well, nice job, man.
Hey, yeah, I got my recommendation in for the week.
Yeah, last time I take a movie from you.
Hey.
I'll give you another token in like a month. Like, all right.
You're watching a David Lynch movie next.
Jeez.
Lost Highway, Sean.
No.
Do your homework.
Didn't he do Zodiac?
No, you're thinking David Fincher.
Fincher, yeah, okay. I'm making
David Lynch is.
I almost
is
watched
the
Zodiac
guy.
the other night. I love that movie.
I have that movie. It's super good. David Lynch is. Do you remember the Louis show where like he went in and tried out for the?
He's got the blonde hair, right? And it's all up on his head, or is that Fincher?
Yeah, no, that's David Lynch. It's
Lynch,
a different
right?
color though.
Yeah,
yeah, he's just a really odd guy, and he's made movies like Elephant Man, Blue Velvet, Lost
Hellraiser.
Highway, and no, he didn't do those. He's done like he doesn't do a lot of.
I know his name, and I know some of the stuff he's
Yeah.
done, but I'm not like
Yeah.
I haven't, since that's not really like my style of movies.
Yeah,
I haven't. He's the Twin Peaks guy, isn't he?
yep, that's the guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't mention that one, but yeah, he did
Yeah, that
Mulholland
makes-
Drive.
Yeah,
I think it was-
exactly.
Yeah,
That's where I kind of know him from. I
Yeah.
also remember reading or watching Inland Empire.
that torture.
That's a horrible movie.
It's a terrible movie. But a guy like
Terrible
Lynch
in the
is
sense that like nothing good ever comes from this.
yeah,
was
a
a
guy
while
like
ago.
him, people just fawn over him. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
he's a great
he's got his unique way of, he's got his own voice. You know what I mean? And that's harder
Yeah.
to achieve than anything.
he does. But then, like, he makes these weird movies, but he's also like hardcore into transcendental meditation, and you know, like all that, like super hardcore into it. So it's like he's the nicest guy, but he just makes really bizarre films.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, some of them are interesting, but he's very much like into like this old school like 50s portrayal, like especially with like Twin Peaks and stuff, where it's just like this kind of shows you like the darker side of suburban life, I guess. Yeah. But sure. Check it out at your own risk.
Yeah, at your own risk. All right. So what do we got? What do we got in the future? Anything you're looking forward to?
Nope.
I've got a couple things cooking that I'll be bringing up.
What do you got?
And some other stuff I'm kind of watching, but I think we're due to dive into another classic here.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's think about that.
Okay.
I also got here, let me pull this up while we're on here. I'm a Horrible Human Being. I got a email and never talked about it, but it's got a request about the Netflix series or the Amazon Prime series Homecoming.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
let's talk about it real quick since I got a request to see if we've seen it or not.
Yeah.
What is Homecoming? Tell me.
So, okay, so Homecoming it's actually based on a podcast. So it's interesting because it's like now we see that podcasts are like influencing movies and things like that and shows. But this one it scored like fairly well on Rotten Tomatoes and everything. So I think it was really cool.
Is that with Julia Roberts?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we
So
talked
it's
a little bit about
Julia
this, right?
Roberts. Yeah, Nucky Thompson's brother. Is in it.
So then,
He
who
plays
do you
a
call
pretty
Julia
good-
Roberts? What's her character's
That's our
name?
guy.
What's her version?
Pretty Woman.
Yeah, Pretty Woman, Nucky Thompson's brother.
Pretty Woman. The guy from Vinyl.
Yeah, the cokehead.
Yeah, Bobby Cannavale.
Well, he's also who was he in Boardwalk? What was his name?
Oh yeah, he was the guy like to be choked out.
Yeah,
Yeah, with the belt around his neck.
yeah, that dude was edgy.
I can't remember the name. Yeah, but no, the best part about the series is it's written and produced by Sam Esmail, who's done Mr. Robot. I don't know if you've seen that one or not. But
Yeah, I have. I've seen Mr. Robot.
yeah. Okay, so there's a little silence there. So Homecoming is I'm not going to give it all away, so I don't want to do a spoiler, but it's definitely like it reminded me a lot of Hitchcock, like when I saw it. Just like in the kind of the way it was shot and the simplicity, and like there's not like a ton of characters, which makes it kind of cool. But as it goes, it's like a serial series, so it's like only like 30 minutes per episode. I think there's like maybe 8 or 9 episodes. Psychological, obviously. Julia Roberts plays a caseworker psychologist. She works at this center called the Homecoming Transitional Support Center, which works with troops that have come back from warfare. and her job is and the job of the facilities to help soldiers like transition back to life. But they're not making clear like the reason why they're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So, it kind of goes back and forth between 4 years after she was there because she left under mysterious circumstances, which are explained as a little bit as the series goes on. She started like a new life, and then she has difficulty remembering that the whole time she was at this place. And then Nucky Thompson's brother shows up, starts asking a bunch of questions, and that's when things kind of get out of hand.
Gotcha.
I would highly recommend it. I thought it was really cool. I didn't like the podcast is in my queue. I just never got around to listening to it because I have so many podcasts. Like I'll probably never get around to listen to any of them. But
that's how it goes.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just what it is. But I saw this, so I was like, okay, this looks really cool, and you could totally get sucked into it. It's very quick. You could easily watch it like in a couple nights. But I believe, like I thought it was over, but apparently what I'm reading now is it's been initial series run of like 2 seasons, and so the second one is currently in development. So we'll see.
We'll see. There you have it. Homecoming.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve, for the question. Much appreciated. Yeah. Sorry for the delay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I definitely, if you like Hitchcock or if you just like old school, like psychological suspense, this is definitely something to check out.
Gotcha. Okay.
And you could tell like the Mr. Robot guy, he's got like this kind of distinct look about what he does. Like he does these very like claustrophobic type of shots and, very much owes like the Kubrick and Hitchcock and, maybe like old Spielberg stuff.
Sure.
A little bit, but so he's got like his kind of a look that combines a lot of different things. I think it makes for a good show.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, we're going to wrap it up. Check out Velvet Buzzsaw on Netflix now.
Velvet Lovesaw.
That's don't Google that. And we'll be back next week talking about more entertainment, movies, TV, things that catch our eye. If you've got any suggestions, recommendations, or like our opinions on something, head over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/theharsh-review, over on Twitter, and you can find us over there as well. Again, thanks for stopping by. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.
At the movies.
No, he won't.
Yeah, well.
Should I delete? Yeah. I'm going to edit that out. How's that?
No.
It is final.
Sean, I'll see you. Sean, you there?
We're done, man.
Okay.